Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this all-new Esteem series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in digital format at Amazon.com, Google Play, Draft to Digital, and other digital booksellers, or pick up your paperback copy on May 24th. A North Carolina teenager allegedly smacked the glasses off a teacher in an assault that was a part of a viral video.
Developing tonight, a Parkland High School student accused of slapping a teacher will be tried as an adult.
The Forsyth County District Attorney also said this is not the first time the student has assaulted a teacher. WFMY News 2's Amber Lake joins us live now with the latest information.
So we were made aware of an alleged assault on a female teacher back in April after a viral video made its rounds on social media. Today, we learned of another alleged assault on a male teacher, this one taking place in February. District Attorney Jim O'Neill says both of these incidents happened at Parkland High School, both of them by the same student, 17-year-old Aquavis Hickman. Now, you might remember this story from a few weeks ago. The DA says Hickman hit the teacher twice in the face. He's charged with second-degree kidnapping of that teacher by unlawfully confining and restraining her for the purpose of terrorizing her. He's also charged with assault on a government official and communicating threats.
It was communicated to the teacher by this defendant stating that he was going to kill her. The threat was made in a manner and under circumstances which would cause a reasonable person to believe that the threat was likely to be carried out.
O'Neill says there was another alleged assault from February. This came after allegations that Hickman gathered at least two others and rioted. Hickman is also being tried as an adult in this case, facing charges of kidnapping and trying to fight that teacher as well.
So when I look at this, I said to myself, at some point, we have to realize that we cannot allow, there's some things in a society that has to be sacred. It has to be. We have to protect the people that educate us.
Officials say Hickman's bond was set at $20,000 and he has since bonded out. The district attorney told us today that there are still some things that need to happen in juvenile court before a superior court date is set. Live in Winston-Salem, Amber Lake, WFMY News 2.
Now, in this alleged incident, 17-year-old Aquavis Hickman allegedly confronted a white female teacher in a corner of the classroom near her desk. And as he cornered this teacher in this classroom near her desk, Aquavis Hickman went into a screaming fit. And as he went into the screaming fit, he slapped the teacher multiple times, slapping the glasses straight off her face, and then allegedly made threats to kill this teacher. Now, what's really scary is that this wasn't the first incident that Aquavis Hickman allegedly participated in, assaulting a teacher this way. No, previously Aquavis Hickman also did this to a male teacher in a couple of months before, and after assaulting that teacher, he was given a pass, and he escalated his behavior to attacking this teacher in this video that went viral. Now, as these students were seeing Aquavis Hickman allegedly assaulting this teacher, what they did was take out their cell phones to record that video that went viral, and others were laughing at this teacher, and one student went on to even taunt this teacher by telling her to go back to teaching. Now, in the aftermath of this incident where Aquavius Hickman had assaulted a second teacher, he was arrested and charged as an adult for assaulting this teacher at Parkland Magnet High School, and also charged as an adult for allegedly kidnapping her, for confining her to that corner of the classroom. Now, the police in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, see this as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of the alleged actions of Aquavius Hickman, they fit the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And when I look at Aquavius Hickman's alleged behavior, it fits the pattern and profile for what I call children of the corn, children who basically have been born and not raised by their parents, and because their parents have not taught them any sort of rules, discipline, or structure to be able to be socialized into the world, what has happened with these children is they've basically grown up like stalks, and as they have grown up like wild stalks, they basically have no understanding of rules, structure, or order, and wherever they go, they bring chaos to that environment. And they bring chaos to that environment basically because this generation of children have not been raised, and because these children have not been raised, this is why these children, again, participate in this whole pattern of dysfunctional behavior, because they have never really been raised by their parents, and their parents haven't done anything like set boundaries for them or let them know who the authority figures are. And that definitely was shown as related to Aquavius Hickman's behavior. He really doesn't understand what the concept of authority figures are, because he was basically never taught to respect authority by his parents. Because one of the things that I see with the way this boy acted is he didn't submit to male authority figures, he didn't submit to female authority figures, and that's part of a disturbing trend where you have children not being raised, and when you have children not being raised, they don't learn to respect any authority figures at an early age, and since they learn not to respect authority, they believe that they can go out here and have no regard for anyone, and that's basically what we saw inside of that classroom. We saw a male who was never taught to respect female authority figures or male authority figures, and basically was taught not to respect people's boundaries, and as he was never taught these things, he basically felt that he could just go and participate in abusing authority figures because they were telling him things that he didn't like. Now, this is exacerbated in many public schools, and I saw this growing up myself in schools like IS 148 and Park West High School. I saw this kind of behavior at the early stages with the first generation of dysfunctional individuals like this, and now we are basically on the third generation of individuals like this. And again, they do this because a lot of these individuals, again, they are sent to school basically not because they want an education, but because the parents want to go out and be able to continue receiving government benefits in order to get the welfare, the food stamps, and the Section 8. The kids have to be in school. So this child is in school not because they want an education, but because mama wants to keep getting her benefits, and this child is also inside of the school basically because the law tells him he has to be in the school. And this child really doesn't want an education. What they really want to just go is just be there for the sake of being there. And when they are there, what they do is disrupt classes, especially classes that feature subject matter that is way over their heads. This is something I saw myself growing up as a teenager in the 1980s and 1990s with the first generation of these kind of individuals. What they do is when they have a class like an algebra class or a science class, what these guys do is disrupt the classroom because the subject matter is over their heads, and they're frustrated because they know they don't know how to do this type of work, and a lot of them don't even understand how to function inside of the structure of a classroom. So what they do is because they're hearing things they don't want to hear. What they do is create chaos in the classroom, and that makes it hard for any teacher to deal with. I mean, I remember back then, over 30 years ago, it was just really hard to deal with that type of individual inside of a classroom, and it really made it like you were anxious all the time. This is one of the reasons why I have anxiety issues, because you don't know what this individual is going to do when they are in the classroom, and you don't know what they're capable of doing if you push the wrong buttons. Because with this type of individual, again, they are seething in anger because of their dysfunctional home situation, and that home situation is exacerbated by state laws that tell this kid he has to be in school. And he's in the school, and if he's in a classroom and he doesn't like the subject matter, he's going to, as he's seething in anger, he looks to go and again cause trouble. And as he causes trouble, he goes and looks to start with other students back in the late 1980s and 1990s. But these days, because these students have not been taught about how to respect authority figures by their mothers, and not taught to respect authority in general, what they are doing now is challenging the authority figures inside of those classrooms. And as they challenge the authority figures in those classrooms, this is putting our teachers in jeopardy, and it puts our teachers in jeopardy as related to their health and safety, because they are dealing with an individual who is way out of control and has never really been taught things about learning about self-control by their parents. Because usually when these homes with these type of beta males, the only model for their own of adult is their mother, and that mother is just a piece of work who is seething and boiling in anger, and her reaction to everything is exploding in rage. And that's basically how this child learns how to resolve conflicts or deal with problems, is to act out wild just like mama does. And that's basically what we saw on that viral video. We saw this in this viral video, this male basically slapping this teacher because he doesn't know how to deal with problems, doesn't know how to deal with life, doesn't have any sort of life skills or survival skills taught to him by his mother or his father. And this male, basically, he's on the road from being a boy in a high school, which he's there for obligation, to he's going to think he's going to just waste time because he really doesn't want to learn anything. He's in this school where they put him there out of obligation as related to the law to learn something. But now he's going to go from this Parkland High School to going to the School of Hard Knocks inside of the North Carolina jail system and the North Carolina prison system. And it's in that jail and prison system that he's going to be learning hard lessons, because inside of that jail, he's going to be dealing with the authority of male authority figures like the COs. And the CO ain't gonna be no nice guy. No, the CO got hard rules for all of the inmates. And if you don't follow the rules of the inmates, you will be eating the floor. And this 17-year-old tough guy who is in that school slapping up that teacher, Aquavius Hickman, he's going to be learning hard lessons from his teachers, the CO, because if you act out inside of the county jail and the penitentiary, you are going to be dealt with very harshly, and that's what's going to happen to him just with the authority of the COs. And he will also have to deal with the social pecking order of Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles. And if he starts getting in the face of them dudes, they gonna be beating him down. And after they beat him down, they gonna trade him for the Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light lemonade, packets of Crystal Light tea, packets of soy sauce, off-brand fruit punch, off-brand orange drink, off-brand grape drink, off-brand lemon lime drink, off-brand lemonade, off-brand chocolate chip cookies, off-brand Oreo cookies, off-brand duplex cookies, off-brand vanilla, wafers, off-brand lemon, wafers, off-brand ginger, snaps, off-brand sugar, wafers, Hunt snackback, puddings, Kit Kat candy bars, Hershey's Kisses. I mean, they gonna be trading him for all the commissary. And after they trade him for the commissary and spit roast this dude, what's gonna happen to this kid, sadly, is he's gonna have to deal with Mr. Sprinkles and the special sauce sprayed in the front side and the back side, and having to deal with him splitting the cheeks open and then showing everybody him looking like the inside of a glazed donut. And after that, he's going to be forced to be scrubbing all of these skid marks out the jockey drawers of Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles, and learning the hard lessons about life in prison, because inside of the prison system is a whole different set of rules than the real world. And it's then that possibly this boy will learn the hard lesson of taking your freedom for granted, because that's what this boy never really was taught about life in the real world. Life in the real world, your freedom is the most important intangible, and you have to protect that intangible, because if you lose your freedom, you basically are going to see your whole life destroyed. And that's what's going to happen to this young man who has now been charged as an adult. He's now going to be on a road to going from being a kid drifting through school to winding up with a felony on his record. A felony on his record that will basically make it where it will be a point where he will be nigh impossible for him to find full-time work at this point. And that's the saddest part about it. As related to this male, he never had a man to teach him how to move in life, how to navigate a course in life, because at 17 years old, his whole life is basically done at this point. And it's done because he didn't get the lessons in manhood and life. And instead of him going from being a guy who's going to graduate to go on to do something like high school or a job, he's graduating straight to the penitentiary. And he's graduating straight to the penitentiary, and this is where this teenager goes from being a boy to becoming a man in crisis. Now, if you want to learn why so many males like this wind up on a road that is to a prison pipeline, and the dysfunctional behaviors that lead to them on that road to that prison pipeline, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and Target. And if you want to see me make more videos about the man crisis that's going on in this country that nobody wants to talk about and was getting progressively worse, because what's happening is that we're seeing the ages of these individuals get younger and younger as they get more and more out of control, because we refuse to talk about the way we parent children. You can again help me out by dropping a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Isis Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Isis Dark Incubus at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Amari's Revenge. The goddess next door is confronted by a Nubian queen out for revenge at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in this inaugural Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Amari's Revenge in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.